Your resume, regardless of how old you are, it is an indication of your success record. What are your accomplishments and measurables? What is your pattern of excellence? And so that's what needs to stand out. It's not, and I'm going to put this in like teenager, young professional speak, but it's not, I did this project. It's, I excelled in putting this project together and this was the impact, this was the outcome. Whatever it might be, whether it's for extracurricular leadership, it's a project in school, it's working at like a restaurant or babysitting or whatever the case may be. It is always, how did you go above and beyond, and how did the work that you were doing, how was that successful? And so that's what people really want to see on a resume. And for those who know what it is, LinkedIn, which is a sort of a complement to the resume.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. And today's guest is someone who helps people figure out something super important. Like, what do they want to do with their life? Like, kind of what I want to do. Think about it. Have you ever been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, I don't know. Well, today's guests help people answer that question, and they build confidence and actually turn their skills into real opportunities. She's a career strategist, a master resume writer, and someone who helps people stand out in a big way. So please help me welcome, the one, the only, the amazing Emily Kapit.
Thank you so much for having me, Tiberius. It is great to be here.
No problem. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, of course.
All right, so Emily, for kids who have no idea, what exactly does a career strategist do?
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a great question. And I'm normally answering this more for adults, so I love being able to answer this for kids. So what I do is that I help clients, all levels, all like sectors, different industries, figure out based on where they're coming from, what do you want to do next with your life? What have you done up to date? What is your success record? And how are we going to position you so that you are actually moving forward in an intentional way that you like what you're doing? So there's a lot of deep questions, a lot of reflection, a lot of really like truly delving into that success record. What have you done? How did you do it? What was the outcome? What have you enjoyed doing? What have you not enjoyed doing? To really help people identify, oh, I hate what I've been doing, but I really love this thing. So let's focus on that. We make sure their resumes, their LinkedIn profiles reflect where it is that they want to go. And we get their job search in order, their interview prep. We get them ready and just walking down that interview prep pipeline and ready to go with negotiations as well.
So what does refresh your step mean? I mean, that's a really cool name.
Thank you. So when I launched this company about, oh my gosh, nearly 2 decades ago, which is crazy, I really wanted something that reflected, wherever you are in life, there's always an opportunity to reflect on where you've been and what you want to do and make an intentional movement forward in a positive way. So Refresh Your Step was really born out of, there's always an opportunity to move forward in a refreshing, positive, optimistic kind of attitude. And I know for a lot of my clients who maybe they were let go because a company was bought, or they were dealing with a really toxic boss, or whatever the case may be, they're coming from a place of crisis, and we really want them to like lean into the this is your success record, these are the amazing things that you've done, let's boost that ego so that they can themselves refresh their step.
So did you always know that you wanted to help people with their careers?
No, but it really just sort of happened. Actually, when I was probably about your age, I actually wanted to be a news anchor. And so I studied and did that in college, and that was actually a main focus. And I started working at NBC in New York immediately, and then was working at ABC as well. And then really immediately figured out, wow, that is not the career that I want. I love the on-air piece. I love the writing. I love all of that. but there was something really toxic about the world as well. Totally different world than it is now. And so then I started working in investment banking back up in Manhattan. And it was very interesting because I was working with some of the C-suite executives at this investment bank, and I was working with some of the college students. We were doing recruiting as well. And what I found was whether they were just coming into the company, they'd been there a while, or they were the top of this company, they were miserable. And it just sort of innately was working with people kind of behind the scenes of, what do you want to do next? Well, why are you still here if you're so miserable? And it just became this like, wow, I really see a pattern, and I see an opening in the market where there was a real chance to work with people on making their way out of what wasn't serving them, and they were just so miserable, even if they were making a lot of money, and really helping them right that ship. And so I left the company and I went back to grad school, and then I started this, and that was almost 2 decades ago.
So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I really wanted to be a news anchor. There was a moment where, I mean, that was really, truly what I
Well,
wanted
you
to do.
kind of did it, so.
I did do it, and then I realized, wow, it's not what it's cracked up to be, which is an important lesson for kids to say, oh, this is what I want. Wait, this is not what I envisioned. And that's a real conversation that I have a lot with clients of like, maintain a real perspective on what you're doing, because if you are so laser focused and you're not seeing the red flags around you, you might end up pretty miserable. So for your viewers to really keep an eye out for, is this what I want? Is this what I'm really looking to do? What is my gut telling me about this? And that will really serve you. I also really wanted to be an author, which I write all the time. So that's definitely something that and I'm continuing to write. So that's definitely something that I am really proud of. I think the greatest job I ever had prior to becoming a parent, which I should add before my kids see this and say something, the greatest job I ever really had was being a lifeguard. And I didn't want to be a lifeguard growing up, but I will say there was something really awesome about being paid to teach kids to swim, but more than anything, be paid to get a tan. That was fun. But that was not what I wanted to be when I grew up. That was something just to enjoy for the time.
So you talk about helping people discover their strengths. How do you actually do that?
So we do what we do actually is the capitalized process. So my last name is Kapit. And so we take our clients through this capitalized process where we are working with them one-on-one on understanding, who do you know in your background that can vouch for you, that can help you uncover professionally, what have you done, what's been your impact? How do we also delve into what is that success record? What's most recent, most relevant, but we're asking some really like in-depth, insightful questions to get people to say, wow, I forgot how much I enjoyed marketing, or I forgot how much I enjoyed, looking at finances, or whatever the case may be. People really get into a lot of different things, but we help them to uncover that and to really find the joy again in what was so innate for them in terms of, I enjoyed this was natural for me. I really thought that this was something I could continue doing. And by asking these kinds of probing questions and having them really look at their accomplishments and measurables, we can pull that information out and help them to have those light bulb moments of, oh, this is what I want to do. And it's pretty cool to see that happen on a daily basis.
So what's something people are really good at but don't realize it?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think people are actually really good at managing and mentoring others, and they get so lost in the day-to-day of doing their job that they forget the enjoyment they get out of helping others succeed. But that's something that's really come out more recently, where there's a bigger like focus on let's build people up. Let's really make sure that people are feeling supported. But when people start to really delve into, wow, I enjoy managing others, I enjoy mentoring and helping people grow, that benefits everybody. But across the board, I see that often.
All right, so you're a 3-time certified master resume writer. So what makes a resume stand out from the crowd?
That is such a good question, and I'm going to answer that, but I'm going to give a little bit of a roundabout answer. When you look at a website, you don't look necessarily at everything on the screen, right? Your eye is drawn to certain elements, and that is built into website design. Well, it used to be that resumes were printed, but now you primarily see them on a screen. So, given that, we have to think about website design in how we craft our resume. So, there's a visual element to it in terms of like what pops out as their critical info, what level they at, what sector are they in, that kind of stuff. So we need that to visually pop. The other thing we really want to stand out quite a bit is that success record. A resume is not, and I want to repeat this, not a laundry list of responsibilities. And I need your people, your viewers, to hear this because they might think that it is. It's not. Your resume, regardless of how old you are, it is an indication of your success record. What are your accomplishments and measurables? What is your pattern of excellence? And so that's what needs to stand out. It's not, and I'm going to put this in like teenager, young professional speak, but it's not, I did this project. It's, I excelled in putting this project together and this was the impact, this was the outcome. Whatever it might be, whether it's for extracurricular leadership, it's a project in school, it's working at like a restaurant or babysitting or whatever the case may be. It is always how did you go above and beyond, and how did the work that you were doing, how was that successful? And so that's what people really want to see on a resume. And for those who know what it is, LinkedIn, which is a sort of a complement to the resume.
So, what can a student put on a resume if they've never had a job?
So, I want to go back to where have they been a leader, if they've been doing anything that's at school or outside of school, such as with sports or with a youth group, or if they have been doing anything that's like nonprofit work, they've been working at like an animal shelter or some sort of like other nonprofit that's important to them. These are all things that they can absolutely put on a resume and start to build in and layer in, whether it's extracurriculars or something as well with school to show their leadership.
All right, so why is confidence such a big part of a career's success?
Well, confidence is going to play into how well you interview. And so if you are feeling confident about what you bring to the table as far as your skill set, you are going to be a much stronger interviewer. And that is true whether you are a teenager or you're in college, a young professional, all the way up to the boring C-suite executives, the CEOs, CFOs, and the like. It really hinges on confidence, but that has to be backed up with actual examples of the work, not just, I'm amazing, hire me, but so much as, and these are the ways that to date I've been impactful, and this is what I would do for you going forward. And so that confidence has to be not just manufactured, it has to be real. There has to be something intentional behind it too.
So, do you think confidence comes first or success comes first?
I think they go hand in hand, but I think the confidence can be built, it's like layered basically. So this is a great question. If you start small, like say you start with, I'm going to just start babysitting in my neighborhood. And then you start to put together and you start to see like, okay, I'm really good at that. And now I'm going to start bringing in some other people to babysit in the neighborhood too. And we'll put together like a little bit of a business, or maybe it's the same idea, but with like, I'm going to start doing like lawn care in my neighborhood, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start small, and I'm doing well with that, and I'm marketing and advertising. I'm going to bring some more people in. I'm expanding it out, and I feel good about that, and like I'm going to layer in some additional services and feeling good about that. You can see how those things layer. You start small with the work and the success, and then the confidence builds, and you add in more, and you challenge yourself, and the confidence continues to grow. And that is true all the way up.
So, what is one small thing kids can do today to start building their future career?
I would say start volunteering, start doing some extracurricular volunteer work, whether that is, something that's important to you. I know a lot of kids will volunteer at, again, animal shelters, or they'll volunteer through like a Boys and Girls Club, or they'll do work through their school, or if they have a connection to like, a cancer or something else that's like, important to their family as far as like an illness or something, they'll volunteer for that. That's a really good way to start building out like who you are as a person. I would also say it is never too late to start getting into some sort of like extracurriculars that are sometimes sports related or other things that just are interesting to you, right? So one thing I would say is, for the most part, get off of the screens and go out into the real world and be someone and do something important that just jives with you, right? And it doesn't have to be the thing that your parents want you to do necessarily. Talk to them, but say, this is the thing that's really important to me. This is the thing that drives me. I want to learn more about science and specifically this area of science, or I want to learn more about graphic design. So I want to go get an internship and work with this company in graphic design. There are so many opportunities out there. You just have to put yourself out there to look for it.
All right. Well, now this feels like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear it from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut. That's a wrap. Just use that.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here with Emily Kapit, career strategist and expert at helping people turn their strengths into a success. So, Emily, you help people prepare for interviews. Now, why are interviews so nerve-wracking?
I think it's because people feel very on the spot about, well, what did you do? How did you do that? And they just feel like they get kind of lost in the question a little bit. But that's why interview prep goes a really long way.
So what's your best tip for someone who gets really nervous before an interview?
Two things. So it's two tips, but they're both very important. The first thing is practice some of your sample responses out loud. Do not just do it in your head. Practice it out loud, even if you're practicing looking at yourself in the mirror or you're practicing with family members or friends. There's a real difference between how it sounds here versus when you speak it. The other thing I would say is stop prepping for that interview a good hour before you walk in and do something that calms you. This isn't cramming for a test. This is, you're prepared, you're ready to go. Be calm walking into that interview. So those two things, practice out loud and stop prepping a little bit before, you'll do great.
Well, is it okay to mess up in an interview?
Of course it is. It's real life. And let me tell you something. If you mess up in an interview and you are penalized for it despite being a great candidate, you just dodged a bullet. You don't want to work there. If they're looking for perfection, we're human. We're not robots yet. So it's okay to mess up and just keep moving along. And most people have messed up in an interview at some point. They're going to understand.
So what should someone do if they don't know the answer to a question?
Ask more questions. So if you get asked a question that you're like, I don't know, say, that's a great question. I would love to hear more about that. And some of these are meant to intentionally kind of mess with you and kind of screw you up. And a really good example of this is what we used to call the Google questions. So years ago, Google came out with a whole list of interview questions just to freak people out. And they were trying to test how you are under pressure. So an example of this is, and I'm going to ask you this question just so we can practice this right now. You probably didn't expect me to turn the tables, but here we are. So how many ping pong balls can you fit into a Boeing 747? Don't just answer it. Use my tip.
Can I hear that question again? Your mic is still really low.
Oh, sure. How many ping pong balls can you fit into a Boeing 747?
Like 20,000.
So don't forget to ask me more questions. That's the tip, right? So, you know, you hear that question, don't immediately answer it. Ask more questions. What kind of questions could you ask to gather more information?
How big are the ping pong balls
That's a
that
great
you're trying to
question.
fit?
Yeah, that's a great question. Standard ones are, this size, but let's flatten them. So they're flat. Okay, so then potentially, if they're flat,
So how big is the plane? Like what's the length of the plane?
the Boeing 747 is a standard Boeing, but there's no seats in it. It's a cargo plane.
So no seats. Cargo. How tall is the plane?
I mean, standard Boeing, so let's say it's 20 feet tall.
22. 22 times regular. How long is it again?
I mean, a Boeing is 747 feet. I'm just going to guess. I have no idea.
747 times 22. Talk about that big. It's like
Yeah.
tenth of an inch. 10 times 22 times 12. Can we scale it down a little bit?
We can scale it down. The point of this is that you ask more questions. You don't have to have the answer. You just know how to get to the answer. So by asking more, and that's what they're trying to get at with that kind of question. And they're going to ask that question to engineers, to people in HR, to people in marketing. They want to see how your brain works, right? And so it's not about the question. It's not about the answer. It's about how would I go about answering that? But that's going to apply to a range of different questions, not just those like completely like off the wall ones, which are meant to be off the wall. So if somebody says to you, hey, in the job description, we said that we wanted someone with experience with Claude AI. Do you have that? And you don't, or you're not sure what that is. I'm just using something random here. Then you can say, that's such a great question. It seems important that you might know, or this company really appreciates someone who understands AI. That's something that I'm really interested in. How would that factor into this role? So you can turn it around so that you can gather more information that way. So it's either you're asking more questions to gather, like, what do I need to answer this? Or you're turning it around to say, I appreciate that question. This seems important for this job. Please tell me more. But that's something that if I needed to learn for this job, I would be proactive in doing so.
All right. So you're writing a book called Sink or Swim. So what is that about?
So it's all about strategies for career resilience, because as I indicated earlier, everyone's coming to me with some version of a career crisis, right? And so at that moment, you can either sink under the pressure of whatever you're feeling in the whole situation, or you can swim. You can surround yourself with strategies to remain buoyant and float and fight your way to the next phase of your career. So it's all of the strategies that we have gathered out over the last several years of doing this to help clients learn how to further their career despite the crisis around them.
Well, on that note, let's do another quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we're back here with Emily Kapit, helping people find their path and succeed. So, Emily, what is your favorite part of your job?
Seeing people succeed, seeing people find the jobs that they are so excited about and that they have found their way out of a toxic situation or they've been searching for a while and they are just so grateful for moving into a great opportunity. Also really love when they negotiate for more money because Who doesn't love that? And we do a lot of negotiation strategy as well.
All right, so what's the hardest part of what you do?
I think the hardest part of what I do is walking people through their challenges and helping them really like face and look at the times they have been standing in their own way, which does happen, right? Sometimes it's, yeah, you're the one who's created the crisis for yourself. You might have been the one who was showing up difficult every single day. We've got to talk about that. So, I'm not a therapist. I don't play one on TV, but there are moments where I do have to be that devil's advocate who shines a light on the thing that the client doesn't want to see. That's hard, but they'd rather me do that than them have that revealed in an interview. So that's usually what comes out of that is let's talk about this tough thing. Let's find a strategy around it. Let's keep moving.
Well, what was the most interesting job that you've helped someone prepare for?
Oof. Oh, so many. I think the one that really comes to mind is my NASA rocket scientist, just because immediately I was like, so I'm no rocket scientist, but I'm going to help you be out of the world, with this interview prep. So that was a lot of fun because it was a lot of like deep dives for me into a space that's just not my area of expertise. But then again, this client's area of expertise is not what I do. So we had to collaborate, but that was really cool.
Well, if a kid feels lost about their future, what should they do first?
Take a deep breath and know that it really isn't a big deal right now. Whatever, a kid feels like they have to have it all figured out right now, they don't. The number of adults who come to me and are like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I'm like, aren't you the grown up? Aren't you like paying the bills and the adult? But the reality is that there's always an opportunity to figure yourself out. Right now, just find the things you naturally enjoy doing. Know that you're probably not going to be an NBA star. You're probably not going to be like, a world famous musician. You're probably not going to be like, a major social media influencer, whatever the case may be. It's probably not what you're going to be, and that's okay. Find the things you really enjoy and just go do them. And when you get to college, if you decide to go to college, just go take a bunch of classes and find things that you enjoy, and you'll naturally find your way.
So who inspired you when you were younger?
That's such a good question. A lot of it really came down to seeing people who went down a path that they felt forced into and me deciding I don't want to do that. So it wasn't like any one person so much as seeing, yeah, they're miserable. Okay, I don't want to be miserable. And I wanted to have my own work-life balance. So what I saw a lot of were people working 80-hour weeks and having no time for their family, no time for themselves, and just, being really miserable and unhealthy. And I just felt, yeah, that's not how I want to live my life. So for me, it was a lot of, that's not what I want. I'm going to build myself the life that I want.
Well, if you could go back in time and talk to 15-year-old Emily, what would you say to her?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep listening to that gut instinct inside that says, yeah, this isn't serving me. And always listen to that gut instinct. I'm telling that was what I would tell myself at 15. I would also tell I tell my children that, and I'm telling you so that makes it out to the larger community and all of your people. Listen to your gut, recognize the red flags, and start to move towards things that serve you and that you're naturally really interested in. And if you've got people in your life who are saying, no, I don't want you doing this thing. You've got to go be a lawyer. You've got to be a doctor or whatever. No, it's your life. Like, be smart about it, but like, it's your life. Please live on your own terms.
All right, well, now the questions get harder, okay? You ready?
Okay.
What was the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
I think the biggest mistake ever made was, this is such a good question, moving to a city that I didn't like several years ago in support of my husband. So I wasn't a kid, I was already married at this point, but it's still a really important lesson. So I was supporting my husband's career, and we moved to Providence, Rhode Island, which, no offense to Providence, it's a lovely place, just not for us. But it changed me as a person in the sense of I knew I needed to be more honest about how I really felt about not, about making this move. It also made me more honest from a career advisory standpoint, because it was that moment of, okay, I want to support where he's going, but like as a career advisor, it's not the right fit. And I can already tell that, but there was just this like interesting moment of like, what do I say? And so it made me just want to be that much more honest with my loved ones, which I think is a really universal lesson of, again, listen to that gut instinct and speak that truth. Because while we were able to like resolve it, we moved away fairly quickly. Like we weren't there for a full year. It really like allowed us to be more centered and more like communicative about, hey, this is what I really am feeling. This is what I think is best for us. And so whether it's you talking to your friends about something, you need to be more honest. Talking to your family about something, you need to be more honest. And that's true for a work life too, right? Where if you see something not going well in a particular job, speak up, because the right people who will listen to you, the right people who need to, will see that and appreciate your honesty.
All right. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. But that one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
The one story I'm not supposed to tell you about. I mean, certainly the number of clients who have come to me and they had made some poor decisions with what they posted on social media, or what they were doing in their off time that may not have been fully legal. And I do a Google search. I look people up. Now I use AI. I can find out a lot of stuff about you that if you're interviewing, you're probably not going to want out there, right? And so I'm telling you, and so that it can get out to the larger world here, don't be stupid. Like, if you are going to be on social media, I get it. Social media has its advantages. Lock it down. Because if I can find it, it can be found on a background search, right? So, and if you are doing whatever people wish to do on their weekends and in their off time, don't be stupid. If it's illegal, it'll be found out, and it'll really impact your job opportunities. So I'm telling you that so that people can lock down their social media and know that choices have implications and they have outcomes. Don't throw away your future because something sounded good in the moment.
So do you have a website or social media for my listeners who want to follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. They can follow me at refreshyourstep.com. So it's singular step, refreshyourstep.com. So you can find me there. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I'm honestly not on TikTok just because I don't have time for all of this. But I am also on LinkedIn, which of course is going to be big in the professional space. I'm always happy to answer questions. I love when young professionals and teenagers reach out because it shows you guys are just on the ball, and that really works out well in your favor. So reach out anytime.
So what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Ooh, a good question that I think you forgot to ask was, what is the most memorable resume point I've ever seen?
What is it?
All right, that's a good one. A client who actually included in like sort of personal interest, which we will put sometimes. For him, it was that he raises prize-winning llamas. And I was just blown away. Like, really? That's a thing? And I said to him, if we include this on the resume, you could be asked about this. What would you say? And just as if he'd practiced it perfectly, he said, I'm in HR, Emily, and dealing with people in companies and raising prize-winning llamas is the same amount of frustration, but I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And I thought, no notes, there's perfection.
Well, thank you, Emily, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Absolutely.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my calling your Compare Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Emily, for your help with Math Corners. And you know what? Today, we're going to talk about more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. And today, since you help people prepare for interviews, I figured we could do something with an interview practice and time management. All right, so let's say a student is preparing for a big interview. They practice answering 6 questions each day. Each question takes about 4 minutes to answer and 2 minutes to review feedback. They practice for 5 days. How many total minutes do they spend preparing?
Now, you don't want me doing math. I write resumes for a living and do interview prep. But I'm pretty sure it's a word problem and you would figure it out. Would you like to take a stab at it?
Yeah, sure. So first, we can figure out how much time one question takes. Each question is 4 minutes to answer plus 2 minutes to review, so 4 plus 2 is 6 minutes per question. That was pretty easy, but now we know that they do 6 questions per day, so 6 questions times 6 minutes is 36 minutes per day, which is still really easy math here. And because they practice for 5 days, it's just 36 times 5, which is 180 minutes total. So they spend 180 minutes, preparing for the interview. But if we divide 180 divided by 60 for the number of hours, it's just 3 whole hours of practice. That means just a little bit of practice each day really adds up to a lot of preparation and confidence. And in the real world, that kind of preparation could be the difference between getting the job or not. So I really like that kind of math.
That's some good math. Don't forget to practice it out loud.
Well, Emily, when you work with clients, do you see that practicing a little bit each day really makes a big difference like this? Or did my dad just come up with something to make me do more math?
Nope, your dad knows what he's talking about. He may have also come up with it to make you do more math, but he's right.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every single day. So how do you use math in your work?
That is a great question. I use math. Sometimes I've got to figure out factors and numbers and revenue and all these kinds of boring math related things. So I do use math there. I also will use math when I'm working with clients on different package options. Sometimes I might put in a 10% discount. So I have to do math there too. I do use it on a daily basis. So it's true. You need it.
Well, thank you so much, Emily, for your help with Math Corners.
My pleasure.
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and ability. Well, this week, we're going to talk about leadership. For me, I think leadership is the act of loving what is good, having self-control, and being disciplined. The qualities of leadership are providing guidance and direction, organization, and being a positive influence on others. So the other day, something interesting happened at school. We were working on a group assignment, and like sometimes happens, things are starting to fall apart. So some people were off task, one person was confused, and we were running out of time. You could kind of feel everyone, getting frustrated. Now here's where the leadership part comes in. One student in the group didn't complain, didn't get loud, and didn't try to take over everything. Instead, they calmly said, "Hey, let's organize this so we can finish." They split up the work, made sure everyone had something to do, and even checked in with the person who was confused to help them understand. Here's the big part. They kept a good attitude the whole time, and they encouraged people, to actually make it feel like a team. And just like that, everything changed. Everyone got focused, we finished the assignment, and it actually turned out really good. That's leadership. They didn't need a little or a title, but they needed you didn't need to be told what to do. They saw a problem, stayed calm, and helped everyone succeed together. They don't have to be a boss or a teacher to be a leader. Sometimes leadership is just stepping up, helping others, and making things better for everyone. And don't forget that you can be lion strong. So, Emily, in your work of helping people build confidence and succeed, how do you see leadership like this, where someone steps up and help others grow?
I see it all the time. Those who really are the ones to move up, honestly, are the ones who are effective leaders. They're what we call a servant leader. They might be the ones who are managing others, but they're doing it in a way to serve others as well, to lift them up, back to that whole mentorship piece. But what you're talking about is one person to lead the way for others, and even helping someone who's struggling. That's a sign of a strong leader. Someone who also can recognize a tough moment and lead through that. I see it all the time. And those are the ones who actually move ahead in their careers. It's a pretty beautiful thing.
Well, Emily, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Integrity. I really do see integrity. And it goes into heart, like hand in hand with lion, right? With the leadership aspect of lion. Integrity of I am going to come in on a daily basis and do great work. I'm going to, as whatever is going on, whatever the task is in front of me, I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to lift others up along the way. Even if I'm not a leader, I'm going to work with integrity. I do see it daily. And when people are struggling and they can see their own integrity at work and to date, whatever their years of career are, it helps boost that ego back up, that confidence that they can move forward in a strong way as well.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
I agree. I really do.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Emily Kapit for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about your work as a career strategist and the work that you do.
It has been so much fun, Tiberius. Thank you for your great questions.
No problem. And do you mind giving your social media and website again for me?
Absolutely. Website is refreshyourstep.com. Social media, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at refreshyourstep. You can also find me at Emily Kapit and on LinkedIn as well, but probably less relevant to your crew, but I am there.
Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490M, KNC98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please, be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And Emily, are you subscribed yet?
I will be shortly.
Okay. Well, this week, Jeremy Thigpen says TV. Nice. I know you, Jeremy. I know that's you from, my old school. And Mr. Elixir Galactic says, yeah, 100. Great energy, super smooth flow. Love the connection to your guest. Well, thanks, Mr. Galactic. I know that's you, Carlos. And for watching the show and, about broadcast engineering. I really had a blast learning about it. And I think that's what I want to do when I grow up. Oh, and you. Be sure to leave a comment on my videos, and I might even mention yours at the end of the show. Also, be sure to listen to us next on the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy. And that's a wrap.